tools. Yes. So I received from Energica the heated grips, and I was given the option of taking them to a motorcycle dealer and having them put it in there. They did say I would need a box cutter, a certain type of, ratchet. They're not ratchet, but certain types of tools. And we're just gonna see if I can get this thing done today, because boy, oh boy, it is cold out there. Heated grips are needed. Yeah, I decided to take a little road trip last weekend up to a place called Lake McMurray, which is, and I had heard about it from a couple of videos. One was by a Mark Rober video. Apparently he goes up there with his family, and I was like, oh, that's curious. But also, I do watch a show called Letterkenny, and anything like McMurray. It was one of those kind of days where I found myself riding, and it was 40 degrees, and it was rainy, and it was kind of miserable. And the camera setup worked well, audio worked well. Again, I'm not a huge fan of the rain. I don't know by motorcyclist that is, but you know, the bike was great. I had it in rain mode, which I don't know, seems a lot like eco mode, but just a little bit more powered, I guess. And, okay, here's these. Sad thing about taking it out in the rain, now there's little bits of dirt and grime. Yeah. So, I'm excited to get this stuff set out. What's kind of strange though is from what I looked at on the system here, you really can only turn the heated grips on and off, but there is a strength setting. So like you can set it to small, medium, large, or 1 dot, 2 dot, or 3 dots. But you have to actually set that in a menu. So, and I've never really figured out a way to actually, get to the menu without actually having the bike out of drive. So it seems like you kind of have to pick one way to go, or one temperature, and then just like flick it on, flick it off, flick it on, flick it off, that kind of stuff. Again, not a huge deal, but it seems a little odd. All right, let's see. This one's not as dirty. Interesting. All right, well, orange is definitely one of my favorite colors, and it's good to see orange is looking good. So yeah, after a big rainy ride with lots of dirt and grime, things are still looking pretty good. There's a little bit of something. So this is definitely open to the elements, but a lot better than I thought it would. I actually, after the ride, I hosed it down and then washed it. So I think I'm trying to figure out if some of these spots are from me washing it or just from leftover mud. I did use a little bit of soap just to break up some of the stuff, dish soap kind of stuff. But I'm sure there are people who are like, you're not using this special cleansing solution to get it done. Well, nope, I'm not. No judging. All right, this is a little bit rusty. And I know there's probably some kind of thing about, oh, but your bike is, the tools you use in your bike reflect blah, 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 blah. I had a bike once. It was a Honda Nighthawk from the 80s. And it's probably just the perception of it. But it seemed like every single screw on that bike was basically the same size, which was wonderful. I had like one wrench that I used. That was it. Now, it seems like even dealing with this, I think I'm on my third type of screwdriver. Ooh, very interesting that it's slightly off camber. Charger manager. And I guess it's that way because it's bolted and this is, no, anyway. But when you finally actually get the middle piece off, it really does look way more complex. You know, like, see a lot of automotive type connectors, definitely a nice smorgasbord of electrical tape, zip tied jungle. This could get really messy really fast. At the same time though, I'm gonna have to count my blessings. There is no oil in sight. I don't see any grime, any of that kind of stuff. So after having worked on bikes for years and just seeing how dirty they can get, and I mean, look at my hands right now, like they're not dirty at all, and I've been kind of rubbing all over the place, just getting rid of little bits of dirt here and there. All right, what the instructions ask me to do for the left side is to take this grip, cut it basically right here, pull it off, and then what I'll do is I'll be putting on new grips that actually are bolt on instead of our friction held on. And on this side, there are these things that I will use to unbolt. They are thread locked, so I'll have to make sure I do that carefully. And then slip that thing right off, and I should be able to slip these other ones on. Here's the throttle. Similar construction, by the way, it's very nice. Here's the connector for it. This is definitely a much larger connector. So at this point, we're like, okay, well, how does that work? So the only one that's close enough is this one. And the only way I'm gonna know this is gonna work is if I trace the wires. All right, so we're looking here, and all electrical stuff ends up becoming just tracing wires, no matter what you're doing. Up here, through here, to the eventual home right here. So this is the right thing. So I'm gonna unplug this after delicately getting these things going. I will say, I'm a little concerned. This plastic looks like it's gonna fray if I leave it out in the sun for too long. I was able to get this thing disconnected and, you know, really, really, really easy to remove zip ties. So, I will replace it with something that I feel a little bit more robust. Let's see here. Okay, it doesn't take too much to remove it, so that's good. So they do recommend in the instructions to use thread lock, which, you know, makes sense. I don't use thread lock that often, but normally when I see the blue on here, that's normally what I think that means. Okay, so let's, ooh, nice. Oh, this is pretty nice. This is, yeah. Let's see. Yeah. Sorry, there's a spring in there somewhere. Aha, now this is off. See? Not too bad. All right, let's put this here. These two pieces there. And yeah, okay, it's just a good old-fashioned spring. Where does that actually hook in? That's the question. At the end of the day, it's just a nicely lubricated spring that kind of keeps everything all nice and tidy. It's good to know there's things you can rely on. All right, where does this even go? That's the thing it's got to hook in somewhere. All right, so this one, it looks like, aha, this one has a spring inside of it. So anybody who's doing this, don't freak out when you unscrew this thing too much and have it pop, the spring pop. So I'm going to avoid that by ever so slightly unscrewing these. Maybe I can just put it straight on. Okay, just put it straight on. Nope. All right, this is coming off. Whew. I'm so glad I didn't do this, because this would become a very grumpy show of a guy named Dan learning how to very carefully redo a spring, which would be absolutely devastatingly important for making sure the throttle worked correctly. Oh my gosh. All right, so let's see here. We got this. Is there a... That kind of just fit right on there. Wow. Is there anything else I'm missing? I can fit on there really well. Shoot. What am I missing? And spring works really well. This is kind of at a weird angle, but hey, now it's fine. So you notice the one thing I didn't use was thread lock. Oh wait, there's actually a little bit of something on it. I don't know, it just seems a bit weird here. I might have to come back and thread lock this later. Honestly though, like I was not... The lower screw, this one right here, was so loose that I just turned it like a quarter turn to a full turn, and it was pretty much loose. It was like, oh, that's it. All right, so this is now active. I still see, so there's a gap right here that it looks like the more I screw this in, the tighter that gap gets. Let's see. Maybe I just never noticed it before, but this definitely seemed like one of those things where you don't want water in, you know. All right, so now there's two cables. So this one obviously is the potentiometer for, you know, saying where it is on the, you know, what my throttle is. And this one will be what actually powers the heated grips. It doesn't get that cold here in Washington, but it gets colder than you think it would. Like it's basically freezing outside right now. What I was told was that this solid state motor controller would be what I would need to plug in. And it looks like these two are what power the left and right, and this is what actually plugs in. So I'm guessing that this is what plugs in to what I showed earlier, this little guy right here. Yep, it looks like it fits just perfectly. As you can see, it is in. Looks just like a regular one. Came on. See, here's that little gap I was telling about right there. Again, not too bad. Screw-wise though, I don't know, I may not do thread lock, we'll see. But yeah, and then I'm gonna have to come back and make sure these are appropriately zip tied. And then here is the actual connection for the throttle to move. And then I need to finish the left side. And here is the solid state controller. So I will glue this down, or glue this, I'll remove the tape, put it down here, and then I'll connect these in. Oh, and lastly, I think this large thing goes to this right here. So this, oh, see, it even says heated, heated knobs. Ah, shoot, I did, crap. Hey, it's plastic. I can replace that. Okay, there it is. Yeah, wow. Okay, this one actually doesn't have any grease on it or anything. There's definitely these little holes here. See those little wires right there? That does not fill me with a lot of confidence that it's waterproof. Also, for those of you keeping score, this is the 4th type of screw that I've seen so far. So, hey, at least worth a nice Phillips head, but sheesh. All right, so we've got enough cable here. Let's put it down like that. Easy access if need be, but yet long enough to connect. Is there a left or right here? Does it really matter? It should probably not matter. Does not appear to matter. All right, so let's do left first. All right, so it should be pretty easy to see from this point. We've got this solid state relay here. We've got wires going in here. These go to the respective sides here. Yeah, these sides right here. And then there's a relay that goes to here. The only part that was a little bit nerve-wracking was this piece. But once I realized that, hey, this, it had it had something for the original throttle, I was able to pull that down pretty quick. I feel so confident this is going to work. I'm just going to go ahead and close it up. There we go. All right, so it powers up. That's cool. All right, let's go over here, hold this in to the right, and that goes to settings. Let's go down to preferences, heated hand grip, level 2. Yeah, that seems fine to me. Let's go over here, let's flick this thing on. What is that doing? Oh, that's right, I have to be in drive. So I pull in the brake. Here the contactors turn on, it says go. At this point, I could really go forward, which, is that gonna work? Hey, it does work. Let's see, can I now turn this on? Not feeling anything so far. All right, so it is supposedly on. I'm not seeing anything though, so I'm a little like concerned that I did something wrong. All right, so if it's working, you should be seeing this. I am definitely not seeing that. So I did something wrong. Day 2. I was able to contact Chris Paz at Energica, and they had something they wanted me to try. So as you can see, back on the bike, the only thing that's a little bit different is there's no tank. So yeah, it's a little awkward. All right, so as I'd said before, there's a cable right here, which doesn't have anything written to it or written on it. I did talk with Chris, and he was saying that that actually is tied to an old version of the throttle that they used. So they apparently do not use that anymore. And he told me, like, hey, like, follow this trunk. You've got some things here. You've got some things here. He did mention that there was this these necessarily purple connectors for something called J109. Let's see if I can get that shown up here. Yeah, J109. And surprisingly, J109 did exist. He told me it existed, but it was way down, and it was underneath this. So it had fallen down somehow and basically gotten underneath the charger. Sorry, that's the charge manager. The inverter. It had fallen underneath the inverter. And so I was like, okay, well, that'll do it. It seems to be right. So I went ahead and put this back in. We went through and checked the pins, and everything else seemed to be fine. All right, let's see. Moment of truth here. Is this going to work when I put this thing on? No. Not seeing anything yet. Shoot. Is it still not working? It is plugged into the right piece. Oh. Oh, gosh. All right, I know why it's not working. I'm supposed to be in drive. Now we're in drive. All right, contactors are on. Now let's try it. Yay! I see it. It's there. It says it's working, and I hear a little bit of a high-pitched electronic whine. So while I'm waiting for it to heat up, one of the things I find fun about this is if I hold down, so I'm in, forward momentum mode right here, whatever. But if I click and hold down the brake and then hit this, it'll do reverse. And this will be the first bike I ever have that has a reverse. And no, I'm not looking behind right now. So I was like, okay, I mean, I think before this point, I'd only heard of like Honda Goldwings having something like this. And there are many people that have Honda Goldwings that are wonderful people. That's not for me. My favorite person I ever saw riding a Honda Goldwing was this dude on Interstate 10 in Arizona. And he was basically on his Goldwing. It was, I think, orange, not orange. It was like a champagne color. And he had his cruise control on. I don't know how he's doing cruise control. It was an 80s or 90s version. And he was just sitting there with his arms crossed like this. And he was going about 90. And he would just kind of lean to the left to change lanes, lean to the right to change lanes. No contact with the handlebars at all. This guy was absolutely crazy. And I was just like, wow, this guy's got guts if he is doing this. Stupid, but definitely guts. Anyway, the other piece that I was going to say is, so yes, you could do the look behind feature. But you can also do slow movement forward, which is great for parking. I didn't think I would actually use that, but it's actually pretty nice. All right, so now that we've given enough time to test out, let's see if I can go back to regular, yeah. Oh, this feels nice and toasty. Not full toasty. Let's check the other side here. Okay, there's some warmth here. It works. I'm really excited. I'm looking forward to trying this thing out. Again, it's almost freezing here, so I'm not a huge fan of riding a bike out in freezing weather, even if it's dry. But I'll wait for it to get just a little bit warmer, and then I'll go out there and test it out. And its current level of heat, I'm not sure if I'm going to feel it with gloves on. I'll have to test that out, see how it works.